it's typical that change is only driven by some reaction to some event, not a proactive planning approach, right? Where you say, hey, we're going to do this in the next 3 years. No, we're going to wait till our server crashes and call these guys and get it replaced.
Right.
You know, that's kind of the problem with some of the small businesses out there, and it really comes down to expense.
The Business Journal Roundtable series is sponsored by iSynergy, creative digital advertising.
Would we say that most of the small businesses in our coverage area are up to speed?
No, absolutely not.
Any idea? I mean, I'm sure there's ma and pa companies, small businesses that maybe can't afford this. Any percentages, any idea of where we stand compared to elsewhere?
All of them. I've said for years that if this, I'm serious, if the average company is 3 years behind the latest technology curve, which is a statistic that I've heard repeated for years, then this valley is another 10 years behind that. And I think I was talking to Mike Moliterno about this, but he had asked me if there's a band of businesses, a size, a revenue level where it gets better or worse, and it's not. It's bad across the board, no matter what size you are, and no matter how large you are, and no matter what the concerns are. We struggle getting people to take these things seriously still. They look at it as a cost center. This has been a pet peeve of mine for a decade. They don't look at it as a revenue driver or enabler. I'm big on efficiency. They don't even see it as an efficiency multiplier.
Plus it's a hassle.
It is, and it can be, but if done properly, there's a lot of efficiency to be gained by it, and there's things that you could do to make it easier.
I think most places are terrified to make the change. I think that our community in general has lived in some constant state of fear for the last 40 years. And most places really don't have any idea how to even get to that point. They're afraid to charge the right price for the product that they're offering. Therefore, they've made the same amount of money for the last 30 years. They took over their parents' business that charged the same thing over that period of time. And they don't know how to make that transition. So I think that it has to start even beyond understanding the dynamics of efficiencies and profits gained and disaster recovery plans by looking back at the core of their business and saying, you can't afford not to do this, and here's why, and here's how to transition, and here are the things that you need to do to adapt your business and to charge the right prices so that you have the money to be able to afford all this infrastructure that you should have had 20 years ago, but you didn't because you were slow to change your price because you let fear run your business.
We refer to most of what we're talking about here as technical debt, meaning that they haven't put money into their infrastructure, and over the years it's just crumbling. And then we work with that partner. One of the things we like to do with all of our partners is we build out roadmaps and show them how you can come in and say everything needs replaced, and that just seems so daunting to them, and I understand why. But we'll break it down into smaller, manageable chunks, build it out on a 5-year plan, keep them on a roadmap to keep their technology up to date, so that once we get them out of that debt, they maintain it and continue their efficiencies. And that's one of the big pieces that we try to offer as one of our services to all of our partners. So.
It's typical that change is only driven by some reaction to some event, not a proactive planning approach. Right, where you say, hey, we're going to do this in the next 3 years. No, we're going to wait till our server crashes and call these guys and get it replaced.
Right.
That's kind of the problem with some of the small businesses out there, and it really comes down to expense.
I think a lot of it has to do with the history of the area as well. You look at the big business that's around or what's been here in the past, and it's manufacturing, it's retail, and those are two of the segments that spend the least traditionally on IT. So we get outside of that into the smaller businesses, but we still have that attitude from years of working for the manufacturing companies or working with the manufacturing companies, or our family worked for manufacturing. And it's hard for an area that views tech as maybe a necessity, but something to be pushed to the bottom of that budget sheet. It's hard to really address that feeling because it's been around for decades. It's not just something new.
The Business Journal Roundtable series is sponsored by iSynergy, creative digital advertising.